Good afternoon. It's so hot in this room, but hopefully that will change. I got most of the lights turned off, just got a backlight on here. And what I've been doing lately is I decided to make me like a fly rig. And people don't know what that means. That's just a smaller rig than you're usually used to. And here it is right here. This pedal board right here. So what I did is I brought the Zoom G1X4 back out of retirement. The Soldano, we got the Dan Electro Pastrami Overdrive MXR Phase 90. That's a Donner tuner. We got the Boss DD5, Corona TC Electronic Stereo Chorus, and the Mimic, which is great. The only drawback to this unit is it's a mono out. I did buy a cable so I could come mono out and double ends right there, but I don't think it really matters on that pedal. Oh yeah, plus the EVHY, which is great. As you see, totally power supplied here. This is battery powered, and I have a bag of pedals that I don't really use. Been a while since I've used these pedals, and great pedals, but ever since I started getting into the stereo kind of realm, I haven't used these in a while. So if you look over here, if you look at these pedals, you come over here to this board, I have these same pedals over here as well, but this setup is mainly for my live setup when I'm on YouTube. So, and I tried to put the flanger on this other front of that board, but it doesn't seem to work too well for some reason. I guess because of the Zoom G1X4 doesn't take to it very well, I guess. It could be something I'm doing wrong. But I'm telling you, this Pod Express, you just can't go wrong with this thing. It's all about that stereo, man. Stereo outs. And this is my stereo board. Every pedal on here is a stereo pedal. And, you know, when you go in and out stereo, it's incredible. And so this is my setup when I'm going live on YouTube. Makes all the difference in the world going into the Rodecaster Pro 2. But hopefully pretty soon, right here, I'm going to put a window unit there because this room is extremely hot. And these fans blowing is not doing nothing, just blowing around hot air. Nothing circulating. I need to go under the house and look at the ductwork that goes to the vent. There's nothing coming out there, and even when we had that stuff put in a few years ago, it was brand new, it was never strong. The airflow was never strong then. So, and I went underneath there and checked, and it was hooked up and all, but it just, I don't know. So we're going to take care of that in about the next week. Also, when I'm going live with this setup here, I have this Pod Express coming out and coming into this Digitech TSR24 True Stereo Reverb multi-effects processor, and then out of that into this Rockville 2-band EQ, which is great. This unit is amazing. I was very fortunate to find that on Reverb. And if you need some pedal board Velcro, I highly suggest this by Crosby. It is amazing. And that's my second box. That stuff is great. That is great. I can't recommend that enough. Amazing Velcro. I mean, it works so good. Some of the cheaper stuff I've got in the past, like from Donner or whatever else, it just wasn't that good. That stuff there is fantastic. And it's not bad. You get it off Amazon for about $14. All right, we're getting ready to head to work. It is so hot outside. I guess we gotta go. Man, it is so hot. So freaking hot. Oh my God. Here in the South, we're getting a heat wave. It's not no fun at all, I can tell you that. Well, let's head to work and get ready to rock and roll. It is a beautiful day though. Absolutely gorgeous. Something else, man. Time just flies anymore. My mother told me, she said, the older you get, the faster time goes by. She's not kidding. Man. This road right here can really be something else. People nowadays that I've noticed, they don't respect the speed limit whatsoever. They just don't. I mean, this, I think it's what, 35? It's either 30 or 35 on this road. And you'd be surprised at the people that get behind me and just ride my rear bumper because they're in such a big hurry. It's incredible. You know, there's at certain times of people's life, man, they start to come to the realization, maybe they want to make a change, maybe they want to do something they've never done before. You know, when you're younger, you feel like you have all the time in the world. And like I said, the older you get, the faster it goes by, or like my mama said. My mom told me that, and which is common sense. But again, you just don't think about it. You get caught up in the moment. You're right here, right now, which is normal, you know. And everybody takes stuff for granted. You know, you just assume you're going to wake up the next day and do your routine all over again. And for the most part, that's true. But like for me, for example, I can't speak for nobody else, but like for me, so sometimes it feels that you're just spinning your wheels, so to speak. No pun intended. But, which in reality, I'm not. I'm just living my life. I'm going to work. I'm making my money, paying my bills. Go to bed, get up, just the normal rat race that every other working person deals with. And wow, man, this traffic is crazy. Let's see, we'll get out of here first. Okay. So for me, I have learned to kind of take a breath and really appreciate things a lot more. And the reason why I say that is, in our family, without going into too much detail, there was a serious incident that had come up, and everybody was on pins and needles for the results of the outcome. And thankfully, by the grace of God, the outcome was positive. So I started to think, I was like, you know what? Back to the bucket list thing again. I was like, well, what is it I would like to do? And when would I like to do it? And if I'm not going to do it, then why? What's the reason not to do it? So I started thinking, and you do a lot of that when you drive for a living. You're constantly thinking about stuff. I mean, it never stops. To the point where at the end of your shift early in the morning, you're just exhausted. You know, you're mentally drained, because when you're driving an 18-wheeler, man, there's a lot going on there. Whether people want to believe that or not is up to them, but it's the truth. So I started thinking, I was like, okay, let me start making a mental list of things I'd like to do. Will I ever do these things? Well, it's going to be up to me at the end of the day. Number one, this is no in particular order. It's just how they come to my mind. Go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. I'd love to go out there and just visit and take video. I don't know. I think they allow videos in there. I know in the beginning they didn't. It could be different now. I guess I could look it up on YouTube and see. But I want to say that I have seen people vlogging inside of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was interesting. Now, on a personal note, I think there's a lot of artists that are in that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that shouldn't be in there. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not the Music Hall of Fame. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, but things have changed, and that's just how it is. There's nothing that little old me is going to be able to do about it. That's just the way it is. Society has changed a lot of things to just please everybody. Okay, again, nothing I can do about it. It's either you accept it or don't accept it. But nevertheless, despite all that, that's just my personal views. I would still like to go visit there because it's a place I've always wanted to go, you know, and just look at the memorabilia in there, the nostalgia. I think it would be really cool because for the exhibits that I'm not interested in, I can just bypass those and go to the ones I really would like to see. So, you know, it's not a total loss, right? What else would I like to do? I would like to maybe go to one more concert. Just it has to be a good one though. You know, not just some run-of-the-mill stuff. It had to be a really good concert. Of course, a couple of my favorite groups, they're no longer touring because of loss of band members, or you know, so that'll never happen again. But maybe one day, if I can find or come across a really good show, and if it lines up with my schedule, I would like to do that one more time. I've been to my share of concerts. I haven't been to like 100 or even 50, but I've been to enough for me. And it was always fun, but even that has changed. You know, it's changed. The ticket prices are outrageous. I was actually watching a video on YouTube over the weekend. This young fella, see, I'm getting old, young fella. He was talking about how some of today's artists, and they're mainly R&B artists and stuff like that, are not selling out arenas. A lot of these groups that are on top now aren't selling out arenas unless you're, you know, a heavy hitter. But even J-Lo's not selling out certain arenas, and it's just, I think, from what he was saying, one of the main reasons is because of ticket prices. Ticket prices are ridiculous. It was like the nosebleed section was like $300 for some of these shows. And in some other locations or other states, the nosebleeds were like $55. So it fluctuates a lot. So me personally, I would like to go see one more good show. The last concert that my wife and I went to, and this is where I'd go see it. If a group came, it would be up in Cherokee at Harris at that amphitheater. It's a nice place. It's clean. They have good security there. I mean, you know, and pretty much if it's going to be something that I want to see, it's going to be something from my era of music. It's not going to be some new thing that's out that I have no idea what's going on. So it's going to be probably a classic rock, a group or something. But still, even at Harris, man, those ticket prices can be steep. there's a couple of groups that are touring that I don't think they should be. I think they should hang it up. I think, man, stop. What are you doing, man? I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess they just feel like if they did, they would be forgotten about. I don't know. It could be a number of things. Number 3, I would like to go camping. I like to take the time to go camping, more than likely in a camper, if one day I could afford a camper. That's what I'd like to do. As far as going in a tent and all that, my wife and I had talked about it, and I actually put all that stuff in my Amazon cart. It's probably still in there, but you know how you can put stuff in your cart and you hit save for later? Well, that's what I did. I ordered a tent, ordered some, even a little generator, this and that, and we thought about doing that, but man, it's just, the older I get, I just can't see myself going camping, and it's so humid out here. I wouldn't be able to sleep, and I got to be comfortable. That's just how that is. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's not camping. It is to me, buddy, because I can tell you, when I grew up, my parents, we would go visit this campground in North Carolina in a town called Moxville. It's called Lake Myers. You can look up on my channel. It's called This Is Where It All Started. If you go to my channel into the search box and type This Is Where It All Started, or This Is Where It All Began, or whatever, that I do a whole tour of that campground. A lot of my youth was spent at that campground. I have a lot of great memories growing up, from 10 years old on up to, as of, about 5 years ago when I made that video. But I quit going there because, like I said, you get older, things change, you have a family. It's just the way it is. It's just, and a new generation of people start going to that campground. For the longest time, the owners, because that campground has changed hands many times, the owners wouldn't put no money back into the campground. They were just putting it in their pocket, and it was starting to look rough, man. You could just tell. I was like, man, this is not good. And then finally, whoever had it at the time of when I made that video, it looked good. It looked like I'd stepped back in time in the 80s. It looked like it did then, but it's clean. And, there's a couple little things that are different, but for the most part, it's still the same. But to get to my point, my parents had just a modest camper. It wasn't nothing fancy. They had 2 slide outs on it, and they lived in that for a long time until they was able to upgrade and get this double wide there. And they lived there until the last, I guess, about the last 10 years of my father's life. They moved out of that campground and got a townhome. They rented a townhome. But so there's many times I stayed in a camper, and I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world to be in something like that, and you're protected from the elements, and you're storming, and it's just a lot better than being in a tent. I would not want to be in no tent. I'd want to be in something like that has AC and heat if you needed it, and it's just, I think campers are really cool. I don't say RVs. I know that's pretty much what people say now, but to me, when I was coming up, an RV was what you drove, and and a camper is what you would pull behind a pickup. But nowadays, like I say, things have changed. Society's changed. It's a different generation now. They call them, all of them are called RVs. And I remember when I heard that some years back, I said, when did that change? So you got to understand, driving a rig for a living, you're in a like a bubble all the time, because you're not associated with nobody. The only connection to the outside world almost is on your phone, social media, which, certain videos I come across, I would be interested in looking for a camper. I said, well, let me look at some reviews of campers. And every video I came across, wherever dealership it was, it didn't matter. You know, welcome to so-and-so RV sales. And let's go check out this RV. And they do a walk around tour inside and out. And I was like, that's a camper, man. It's not an RV. But again, you can either accept it or not, you know. But so I was like, well, that's a new one for me, man. So another sign of me just getting older. So I would like to go camping. You know, if I could ever get a camper one day. I don't think it's going to work with Little Red here. Little Red ain't going to be able to pull no camper. It's I'm going to have to figure that out later on down the road, because this truck ain't going to do it unless you're going to be going straight the whole time and never go up a hill, or you know. So I would never do that. It would tear the transmission all to heck after a while. But anyway, so the fourth and final thing would be to perform somewhere. And if you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, or if it's just for a week or whatever, the main subject matter of this channel is music, is guitar playing. And I would love to perform somewhere, somehow. And performing live on YouTube on my channel, that's fun. That's fun. I have a great time performing with my friends. We all take turns playing songs on StreamYard, and it's a blast. And I will always be grateful for technology, for allowing me and other musicians to be able to do that. Because whether you like it or not, that stuff has come a long way. And I can remember when I would, what was it called back in the day? Hangouts? This is before StreamYard, or Zoom might have been around. I don't know. I don't remember hearing about Zoom then. Could have been. Even Zoom has made some improvements, but I'll touch on that in a second. But back then it was Google Hangouts. And even on my channel, I could go way back. So I've been doing YouTube a long time. I can go way back and I can watch. And I'm sitting in my chair, and I got the laptop sitting up there, and I got an amp behind me, and I'm just playing, and it sounds okay for the first 2 or 3 seconds. Then it sounds like it's underwater, and when I'd watch the replay of that stuff, I said, oh my God, why does it sound like that? Why does it sound so horrible? Because at the time, that particular software wasn't designed for music. It was just designed for talking. So that has come a long way. And it's because of other musicians and other people, you know, submitting their concerns to all these companies, saying, hey man, you need to fix this, and they have. Now, between StreamYard and Zoom, which do I think has the better quality for streaming live? StreamYard, by a mile. And I've done back-to-back tests with both of these platforms. StreamYard is great because you got boxes on there you can check when you get started. And for me personally, I don't check none of the boxes except the stereo audio. That's the only one I check, because it does enhance, for me, it enhances the audio quality, more of a stereo kind of effect. I don't know about other people, but for me it works, and it sounds really good. I was like, wow, you can hear my delays crisscrossing back and forth in the headphones. Now I've done the same test on Zoom, and Zoom, they say on their site that we have this set up for if you're a musician, you can do this, and I've done it, and it's okay, it's all right, but it's not the quality like StreamYard is. So why Zoom hasn't stepped up their game is beyond me. I don't know. They must not have no musicians working there or something, or I don't know. But to do those, I've even done a back-to-back test on my channel between StreamYard and Zoom, those two platforms, and you can hear a difference. I mean, you can hear it. it's StreamYard has got it hands down. So, you know, but performing live like that, it's fun. It's fun. It's not the same as if you were to perform in front of an actual crowd. And have I played in front of actual crowds? Yes. Were they huge crowds? No. They were just your ordinary bar crowds, you know. It's still fun. It's still a lot of fun. Everybody had a good time. Everybody's they're having dinner brought to their table. They're drinking. There's more people there than I thought would be there, and I've done that plenty of times. And that's about the gist of the size audience I've ever played in front of. But one day, I don't know how, but one day I would like to play in front of a pretty large audience. I'm going to do some investigation and see if that were possible. What do I have to do? And how do I go about doing that? Because with, again, today's society, there are ways to make that happen, possibly. But again, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? So, and you're going to have the people that are going to say, even when I'm streaming live on my channel playing music, you always got the naysayers saying, yeah, this and that, I don't know why you wasted your money on that pedal or whatever. But those are the people that aren't doing anything. Those are the people who are lazy. Those are the people, when you click on their channel, they have no content, they don't have anything. So you're always going to have that. You just have to let that roll off your back. I always have. I've always let it roll off my back. And there's so many people out there that are like that. There's so many people out there that are jealous. But there's a lot of people that are very kind and supportive and wait for these videos to come out, which I don't put out videos like I used to because, you know, of life getting in the way and working and trying to make a living. And you see why I'm recording this video right now, heading to work. You know, that's the only time I can really do it. So those are 4 things on my quote-unquote bucket list that I like to do. Now, the clock is ticking. How long till I can accomplish any of those bucket list goals is ultimately up to me. Now, there's going to be a few things that come into play. One is going to be money and time. So, I know the camper deal is going to be moved down to probably the bottom of the list because that's an investment, that's money, and I can't pull a camper with this little truck. I have another idea how I could do it, but I'll save that for when the time comes. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's possible. I would love to do that. That's a long drive from here to Cleveland. It wouldn't be that bad, but still, you just have to look and see how much it kind of be in gas as opposed to flying out there. I don't think I'd want to fly out there and then either Uber everywhere or that would get expensive. So driving there would probably be the route to go, and get a hotel, maybe see a couple other things while you're there, because just seeing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's kind of a like, we're here, let's see it, we're done, let's go home. So there might be a couple other things I could visit. I just have to do some research. It's all in what you want and how bad you want it. So, but one of these days, man, one of these days, something will happen. One of those will. One of those will. You know, when I went and got Sally, for people that don't know who Sally is, that's my Mustang. When I went and got Sally, that was, that was almost a year ago. Not quite, almost, about 10 months ago. And when I went and got Sally, that was just pretty much on a whim. I mean, I I've always loved Mustangs. I've always loved those year Mustangs. And I went and did it. And when I went to the dealership, the Ford dealership in town to get Sally, I was kind of like, what am I doing? You know, but at the same time, I was excited. And I felt alive, if that makes any sense. The downside of that whole experience was I didn't let my wife know what I was doing. She was out of town visiting her daughter, and I went to the Ford dealership in the Silver Bullet. And I did a video on my channel about it when I got Sally, for people who want to go back and check that out. I traded in that Malibu. They didn't give me much for that car, which I knew that was coming. That car had like 250,000 miles on it. It had a lot of miles. But it's a good little car. It's paid for. But my wife didn't know. She didn't know I'd done it. And then when I got it home that first night, you know, they give you two, what they call them, key fobs. And the one worked, but I never tried the other one out until I got home. I didn't think about it till late that night. And I went to hit the buttons and it wouldn't work. So I was like, well, I guess I need to go to Walmart and get some batteries, or a new battery to put in there. So when I left and got a battery, come back home, took the key fob apart, put the battery in. It still didn't work. I went out to the Mustang. I was trying to mess with something, and I set the alarm off on the Mustang. The alarm's going off. We live out there in the sticks, and it was loud, and I know it's waking people up that live over here and across the street and across over this way. That alarm went off for probably a good minute and a half. That's a long time to hear that racket, and it was loud. And I had to run inside, get the other key fob, and cut the alarm off. Well, going back and forth on the in the back door like that, I got cameras set up, and every time there's motion, those cameras set off a signal to whoever's logged into that app at that time, which at that time my wife was logged in, you know, so she would get the notifications. So it's like 11:30 at night, and I walk inside and I hear my phone ringing, and I was running back and forth because I was trying to get the key to cut that thing off, that alarm. And I go inside and I look, my phone's ringing, and it's my wife, and I thought, oh man. So I'm thinking that she's already seen the Mustang, because the way the camera, you know, in the driveway, the four ways are going off, the lights are flashing, it's making all that noise. And so I answered the phone, and I was kind of out of breath a little bit. I was trying to compose myself. She said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. The alarm went off on the car, and I was trying to fix it. She said, what'd the alarm go off on the car for? I said, I don't know. And I remember, at this point in time, she doesn't know I have the Mustang. I just said the alarm went off in the car, which is the truth. I just didn't say which car. So, we were talking, and she was, and apparently it was the way the car was sitting down in the driveway. I do have a floodlight out there, but the car was backed up just enough out of the light. So the car's black, so it kind of blended in with the night right there, you know. So she was like, okay, I just wondered what was going on, but she sounded like she knew something, and she was waiting for me to just cave in. So I thought she knew. So I told her. Come to find out, she didn't know. So she was PO'd at me for like a day and a half. But then she came around. She was fine. But the point is, I told you that story to tell you this. How bad do you want it? If you're going to do it, do it. You know, if I would have known that would have put me in some kind of financial jeopardy, or it would have messed us up for our bills, I never would have done it. You know, I'm not that careless. But I've always wanted a Mustang, and I was like, well, I'm getting to the point in my life, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. So I did it. That's just what I'm saying. You know, like I said, don't do something that's going to put you in a bind or mess you up. Don't do that. but it was, I was glad I got it. I was glad I got it. Because it's nice to go out there and look at Sally and take her for a ride every now and again. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this story here. Story time? Is that what this was? Was it really? I guess there was a couple of stories there. But really, just, you know, how bad do you want it? You know, life is short. Life is short, man. And like I said, with the incident that happened in the family, it kind of put that in perspective, just for me personally. Because you never know. Nobody is promised tomorrow. You just never know. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate that. If you enjoy content like this, or if you enjoy this channel, please give us a thumbs up. And for those who take the time to comment, thank you very much. You can tell these roads out here are so bumpy. I don't know what's going on out here, but it's just the South Carolina roads for you. So thank you, though, for those who comment. I appreciate it very much. Have a blessed day. Until next time, my name's Joe for the Joe Wentz Project TV. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.